Well, here we are. This is the true final RNaR game. At least until the games got updated, and then 3 more games dropped and were added to the Classic Series. And well, now it's in some stupid state of limbo, and I don't know. I don't fucking know! Now the series is called the Legacy Collection or some bullshit. I do not give 2 fucks about this shitty collection's legacy. Regardless, this is the last actual RNaR game on Scratch, at least until 2023. And so that's my excuse for taking a break from RNaR after the review of the Updated Classic Series. Is it bad that I'm playing this game now, when it's supposed to be the Christmas game? Well, I'd rather not waste an entire year to play it like some other Christmas-related RNaR project, so let's just get it over with now. Alrighty. Oh, right. Since this game was released after last chapter, it seems there's no real review. I guess we can instead just look at these comments. Wow. This guy is just advertising their own project. Isn't that against the terms of service? Maybe the game was so bad, they figured that they offer something better to play. Alternative 2 went to Wonderland, but RNaR? Sure seems like it. Apparently this game was conceptualized in November 2020, and by then the Return of Phase 2 went to Wonderland had already been revealed. So, yep, definitely an original game we have here. Though, aside from the title, nothing from this game was directly taken from Return of Freddy's 2 Went to Wonderland, so I guess that's good. Ah, here's some reviews! They all seem pretty positive, well, aside from this one. Why is Bart here? Minus 9,000. What the fuck? Well, it is a joke review, and he seems like he really enjoyed it. So I guess people actually like this game. Now, let's see the story. Where's the story? Well, there is no story. Rather, this just gives instructions on how to play the game. Though I won't move on without addressing the elephant in the room. Do you know how many characters are in the game? 20. 20 fucking characters. This is just... wow. I'm at a loss for words. Why does this game need so many characters? At least the characters in this game have more varying mechanics, unlike 3rd generation, but it's still not justified. Maybe there are so many characters because the game is actually really boring. Regardless, let's start the game. So after fucking with some of the cloud variables, I've had to do this every time I want to play any of these games by the way, we can start night 1.
Hello? Hello? Oh, hey, Greg. It's me, Douglas. It's been a while.
You know what? I believe this is the worst phone call ever. And this time I mean that, because the call was done by the creator instead of her friends. They talk in such a muffled and deep voice, so clearly they don't care about telling us how to survive. I guess that's why the game needs all those instructions. Anyways, guess how many of the 20 characters are active on night 1? 1. I'm sorry, but that's just ridiculous. At least introduce 2 or 3, but 1? Not to mention, there's that classic issue where he's so slow that the night will be over by the time he can even reach the office. Though, unlike every previous game, the time that a character takes before moving is randomized. Every time a character needs to move, they need to wait a random amount of seconds before they can. In the previous games, the seconds before the characters being able to move is always a set number. So that's 1 plus I can give to this game. It fixes a flaw that every other game before it had. Maybe old Max actually learned a thing or 2 from the previous games. Anyways, since there's a lot of characters, there's also plenty of mechanics. So let's go through them. There's the basic play audio, the overused mask, and a flash electricity button. It just lights up the halls, but certain characters can prevent you from using it by their mere presence, so you gotta deal with them before being able to use it. You can also click on all these toys in the office. Why they are here I do not know, but they all play stupid sounds. The only one that makes sense is Wario, because when you click him, he does his laugh. But what's with everyone else? This puppet here just says...
Okay.
Golden Spring Joe here says...
Yo, mama.
Which, well, I guess that makes sense. And Golden Spring Toxic, he makes that one stupid sound. You know the one. was funny in 2021. Well, guess what? It's not 2021 now, and it's not funny anymore! Oopsies, I just spoiled the secret camera. Oh well, not like it matters. It only becomes an actually visible camera on night 5, but whatever. Alrighty, night 2. You know what? I'd take it all back. Max clearly didn't learn anything from the previous RNaR games, because she once again activates half of the characters in the game on the second night. Also, Peppa-Woo and Bizou are now active characters, and of course they make dog whining noises whenever they move. But what's even worse is that 3 of the characters have audio cues, though they're just as loud, if not louder than everything else, so I guess you really don't need to worry about it. There's also this asshole named Luke, and he keeps changing the fucking cameras! I mean, tracking characters with the cameras is useless, but why make a character change the cameras when you don't even need to actually use the cameras? Well, the cameras in this game function like they do in last chapter, where they're basically a shield from certain enemies, which is just really lazy. It works for Easter egg characters, but using it on actual enemies is just obnoxious. One more thing. You gotta love how much stuff is taken from 5 Shows at Wario's. I mean, this game came out like 2 months after the 5 Shows at Wario's Director's Cut DLC dropped, so there's literally no shame. Who knows, maybe some of the assets were public at the time of the game releasing, but all the assets literally come straight from the files of the Director's Cut, so what the fuck. Anyways, finished that night. On to night 3. Night 3 only introduces 2 characters, being Lockjaw and Kitty Fazcat. I swear, it wouldn't be that hard to even out how many characters get introduced each night. Just introduce 4 of them every night, and you have a completely balanced campaign. Other than that, it's pretty easy. The game is not that hard at all once you understand the mechanics. My only issue is with Maxina, or as quite a few people like to call her, off-brand Minnie Mouse. Why is she an issue? Well, she's a pretty simple character to understand. You just have to have your cameras open when she speaks, and then close them. But she just takes forever to show up, and I don't know, she's just a pain in the fucking ass. Night 4 is easy too. It introduces Wario and his crew, and they all require the Flash. Up until now, the Flash was basically useless, so why even have it before now? Just like the mask, it's just a bunch of useless bullshit that nobody cares about. At least you actually need to do stuff in this game, unlike every other game where you just idle and do nothing. But that doesn't make it fun. If the game were fun, you'd have more instinct to deal with the characters. Maybe some people find it fun, and that's fine, but I personally consider it a waste of my time. It feels like flying, but my patience is dying. I don't know, I've got nothing else to say about the night. Oh yeah, apparently the phone guy died. Just in case you were wondering about his story. I mean, you can't even hear the phone calls for all the noise the characters make, so whatever. Finally, Night 5. Night 5 introduces Wario Man, Joe, and Toxic. The last one they're saving till Night 6, I suppose. Wario Man is a Flash character, while Joe and Toxic are mask characters. Like every other night, once you know how everybody works, it's easy. Oh yeah, fun fact, Joe in the Random Nights at Randomness series is a girl. Apparently Max got permission from Scribby, Asper's Return creator, to change Joe's gender, but why would you even bother doing it? At least it makes sense to change Bonnie's gender since, well, you know, everyone's pretty divided on that. But why of all characters would you change Joe's gender? Yeah, no time for stupid debates. If that's what the creator wants to do, then fuck it, I guess. Why don't we just listen to the game? Absolutely lovely. Well, Night 6. I guess it's now or never. Actually, why is Night 6 a separate button on the menu? Why couldn't it just be part of the continue button? Honestly, I think the continue button should become obsolete. Just add a night select button, and put all the bonus non-canon nights in the extras menu. Because unless you start a new game, the continue button is useless. Not like it matters, because in this game, you can't even start a new game! Because once you finish Night 1, you'll just be put back on night 5! Alright, fuck it. It's not like my criticisms will get answered. And if they do, they'll only get answered by the time Max gets started on Random Nights at Randomness, the modern day's remake number 10 billion. Here we go. So the night starts. This time the phone call is answered by static.wave. And after a few more seconds, the boss battle music kicks in. It's just the 5 shows at Wario's Director's Cut Entity 01 boss theme. I mean, wow, they're not even trying to hide that this game came out directly after 5 shows at Wario's. Around 3 AM, you start getting all these flashbacks to the previous RNaR games, even playing sound effects. I sure do wonder why they decided to include that. It's not like this part of the final boss theme has sound effects from every Five Nights at Wario's game. That'd be ridiculous. Well, now the flashbacks are over, let's finish off this night. Done. When you finish the night, you're supposed to be taken to a cutscene, but I don't know, that didn't happen for me. Maybe I forgot to set one of the cloud variables, but I don't know, and I clearly don't care. Let's check out the extras. So we got all the characters, and you can even see their normal designs. Basically, it makes them all fixed up and or alive. Why do we need this? Oh, I don't know, and I don't want to question anything. Then you got all these jump scares. Aren't they just great? I am not doing the custom night, but the max mode challenge is the only night that is unbeatable. At least for my standards. I do not want to play this game anymore. There's the unused content. We got 8 unused characters. Well, actually there's more, but apparently these guys are the only ones that are important. Oh look, there's Nightmare. Hope he's not too mad that he didn't get in. And a replay. No, this is not the replay nights from RNaR the only ones. You instead get to replay the cutscenes that we missed. There's the night 5 cutscene where you're in a bedroom, then the screen goes black and you see some text. And then there's the night 6 cutscene. You're in the security office, then Bear, Sam, and Demon Wario show up. They threaten to jump you. Demon Wario jumps you. And they talk about some asshole named Ted Goldman. Apparently you play as Ted Goldman in RNaR the Last Chapter. Though you get a flashback of RNaR the Last Chapter in night 6, so... And then the credits roll. You also have the option to replay the credits in the replay menu, but whatever. Overall, I have to admit that this game is a better experience than some of the previous RNaR games I've played. You gotta do something on every night, and everyone is pretty active the nights they are introduced on. However, there's a ridiculous amount of characters, the mechanics are barely utilized early on, it's still a cacophony of crap, and unless you have a hard time remembering how to deal with the characters, it's really not a challenge. It's the last game in the Classic Series, and the only one that's not as much of a 9-car pileup as every other game before it. Well, aside from the underground storage. It's not good, but it's a decent enough experience to get through. Now, what comes after this game? Well, like I said at the start of the episode, no real RNaR games got released in 2022, while no games in the RNaR Classic Series got released. Rather, Max decided to re-release every Scratch Random Nights at Randomness game up to Winter Wonderland, which gave them some quality of life updates that supposedly made them more enjoyable. So stay tuned for the next episode, which will be a retrospective of the Updated Classic Series RNaR games. Until then, thanks for watching, and have a good fucking night.